This is gonna be a quick video tutorial for petal number 13. So far, my favorite peony template. And let's start. So this is made out of a 12 by 12 card stack. I use 6 pieces of it for this one flower, and this is how I laid it out. So if you are getting SVG from my shop, you can freely lay out it the way how you like and whatever size you want. And even if you are buying the PDF, and you don't want to buy the 12 by 12 paper because business wise it's really expensive, but I got this one in Michael's for a very very cheap price, like 48 sheets pack for only $5.99. So I just grab it. It's not the ideal because it's textured, as you can see. It's not the ideal paper for the smaller flower with more intricate folding on it, but for peony this really works well for me. So let's start. So as I said, we use a 6 12 by 12 paper, and which means all of our sizes, petal sizes here, has 6 pieces. And this flower is gonna be medium size, which is like from 14 to 16 inches flower. So supposedly for a medium size flower, I'm gonna use a medium size base, which is 4 inches. But in this case, because I'm using a floppy center, by the way, I'm gonna link the tutorial of this floppy center on the description box below if you want to see how I made this. But because I'm using this floppy center, as I said, I'm gonna use the larger base, which is the 5 inches. So of course we need for me this works phenomenal with curling my petals. So I have my medium size, I have my small, and I have a very tiny one, which is the pencil. This is what I use for curling. Of course we need our scissors and our hot glue and stick glue. So let's start. So first things first, we're gonna make a slit, and we're gonna cut 6 pieces of our petals at one time. So the larger, or the larger petals has the deepest slit on it, and as we go smaller, our slit become much shallow. So there are 2 purposes why we're cutting it together. First is we want it faster, but second, we want to have a uniform slit, because slit matters when it comes to having that 3D like fold on it, and having a uniform slit would really ensure that we have uniform, like 3D stand of our petal. So because of its thickness, I would recommend that you would instead of curling it 6 at a time, stay with 3 at a time. But if it's the 65 pounds cardstock, I curl like 4 or 5 sheets at a time, especially with larger project. So the first thing that we need to do is to like massage the center with our dowel rod. This will ensure that our petal will have the soft curl in the middle. And then just curl both sides inward. Like so. So let's do the same thing with the remaining 3 petals of the same size. soft curl in the middle. See what I did? I'm just pressing it with my dowel rod. And curling both sides inward. So our first layer is done. Let's move on to our second layer. Again, 3 pieces at a time. And we're using the smaller or medium rod for this size. Again, same thing, making a soft curl in the middle and curling it inward like so. And the same thing with our remaining 3 petals. And down to our third layer, which is the smallest, so that means that we're also using our smallest curler, which is a pencil. This really works for me. And some ladies would prefer the hot glue stick. I really don't think it helps me so much, especially it's not as hard as the wood. So again, curling it inward. Like so. And the remaining 3 layers. Curling it inward. So after we are done with our curling, let's make this, you know, become a 3D look by gluing the 2 flaps together. So like so. And just add some glue and make it sure that the distance of all in a layer would be the same. So it will have the same height when you glue it into your base. By the way, if you are wondering what color is this, this is flamingo. It's like an orange, but it also looks like pink. Like mix of pink and orange for me. So our first layer is done. Let's move on to our second layer. And again, we're going to have a uniform distance when gluing our flaps together of the same layer. And down to our third layer. So we're done with our 3 layers. Let's set aside the two smaller layers, and let's focus on our large ones. So as I said, because I'm using the floppy center, I'm gonna use the 5 inches. But if I'm gonna use the flat center, I want to make it sure that this will be properly covered, so I'm gonna be using the smaller one. But first of all, if you are planning to hang this on a wall, I would recommend to use this pipe cleaner. This is 1/4 of a strip, and just bend it like a hook and dab some glue. The fuzz on it will ensure that it will hold the entire hook of wire into your base, and your flower will keep on, you know, it will be hung properly. Because what I found out with just a normal wire, the glue doesn't really stick very much. So let's start with our first layer, our first petal. So just make sure have a glue half of the entire base and stick it, you know, right where the hanger is. But if you're using this flower for like a paper flower wall, I don't think you still need the hanger on it. So the next petal, to ensure that we have equal and even distribution of petals around our base, especially if it's circle and you're a beginner, I would recommend to have it, you know, exactly opposite to your first one. The next thing is, let's get our 2 petals, and that's the reason why we keep these sides open, so we can sneak it in here, and it's giving us the illusion, or it's giving us the freedom that we are placing our petals one side atop of the other. So once you feel like, you know, it's evenly distributed on this side, we can then now sneak the glue behind the petals. Let's start with this, you know, farther one, and then the other one. So now we can close this side, and let's proceed to the remaining 2 petals. So again, the same method as our 2 petals on the other side. Be careful with the glue, because it's hot. And then now we can close this section here. So it ensures an even distribution of our petal around our round base. So now let's move on to the second layer. So again, just half, and we're placing the second layer in between of the 2 previous ones. And again, same method with the second layer, opposite to our first petal. And our third and fourth, unlike the first layer, we don't need to eye it, you know, like to make it even, because we know that it should be in between of the 2 previous layers. So all we can just do is sneak it in here, so making it sure it's in between. So as the fourth, you can seal the loose ends if you want, but I really don't think it's necessary, because it's gonna be covered with the third and final layer though. so it will still be good. It will still be secure. So that's the 5th and the 6th. Final petal for our second layer. Now let's move on to our third and final layer of this flower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then final petal 6. So that's the advantage of having the larger base for this particular flower using a floppy center, because it will give us space when we place this one in the middle. So all you need is to have a glue, generous amount of glue around it, and stick it in the middle. So that's how our petal number 13, which is my favorite uni template, is assembled. So I hope you guys like it. I would put also in the description below the link on how you can get the template. It's available in my Etsy and in my website. So go and check it out, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.